Hey everybody, welcome to this week's How To Tuesday. I'm down in Key West right now. We're out doing some fishing with Into the Blue, and we're doing some snapper fishing. We caught some giant mangrove snappers. We also caught some big mangrove snappers up in Louisiana. And another fish that we catch in Louisiana is the redfish. And these fish are similar in some ways and different in other ways. But today's How To Tuesday is going to be how to cook a heavily scaled fish like a snapper or a redfish in a little slightly different way. This is something that they do in Louisiana. They call it redfish on the half shell. We're doing it now, or I'm doing it with my family with snappers and, of course, redfish. If I have one of those, I'll do it with them. But snappers have really become one of my favorite. And the traditional way that we've always done snappers, and of course, snapper's a very easy fish to cook. It's an incredibly good fish, and the snapper that I like the most is gray snapper, mangrove snapper. Yellowtail snapper is not going to be as good for this recipe because it's a little more delicate fish, and it certainly has different scales. But the mangrove snapper and the mutton snapper have heavy scales, and as does the redfish, and this recipe will work for them too. So what we're going to do when we cook a redfish like this on the half shell, or a snapper on the half shell is what they call it in Louisiana, you are going to simply fillet the fish out and then leave the skin and scales on the fish. I'm going to trim it out, of course, and get the rib bones out and get all the bones out, but I'm going to skip the step of skinning it and, putting your fillet knife down on the skin and pulling the skin and coming out with a very nice fillet. And that is the way that most snapper is cleaned and most snapper is served in my experience. This is slightly different, and I've just really, really liked it. There's lots of ways that you can do it, but I'm going to give you the recipe for Anthony Randazzo, who's my friend that owns Paradise Plus Lodge in Louisiana. And when we go there to visit him, he cooks this redfish on the half shell, and it is dynamite. I decided I was going to try it for snappers, and again, dynamite. So here's how you do it. You clean the fish, as I just told you, cut it, fillet it, leave the skin and scales on. Then you take a stick of butter, you chop up an onion. You have 2 cups of Italian dressing. It doesn't matter what kind of Italian dressing. I've also run out of Italian dressing and used Green Goddess dressing for this. Then you're going to put in a little bit of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 3 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of Tabasco or Tiger sauce, 1 teaspoon of Tony's Cajun seasoning, and then you're going to take the redfish, or the snapper in this case, and you are going to get the grill very hot. Put the skin down on the grill, and you're not going to move it again. I'm going to paint this fish with this Worcestershire butter Italian dressing mixture, and you can do that to taste if you like the taste of Worcestershire more so than others. Add a little bit more, a little bit less. I like a lot of butter on it, so I'm going to heat this up with this stick of butter and all of this other ingredients, the garlic powder, the Worcestershire, the salad dressing, and mix it all up. I'm going to paint the fish very well in the kitchen, and then I'm going to take it out to a hot grill, lay it skin down on the grill, and you're not going to move it. I'm going to cover the top, put the lid down on the grill, and let it sit there for a few minutes. And I'm going to open the grill up. I'm going to paint it some more, and continue to paint it with this mixture that you've created until it is completely ready. And what's going to happen is the scales are going to turn completely black. They're going to burn up, and but the meat is going to be protected. The fat layer that is between the skin and the flesh of the fish is going to caramelize, and I think that's why it makes it so good. So if you are a fisherman and you have access to snapper or redfish, this is an easy one, but you can also get a whole fish at the many of the Whole Foods or other places I've seen them where you just see a whole snapper in there. Take that fish home and fillet it just like I'm telling you, and this is absolutely fantastic. So Anthony goes one step further, and he then puts some breadcrumbs on top of it. I just leave it just like it is, and just let it let it cook on the grill until it's fully done, and then just pick that up, put it on a plate, and then just carefully just flake it away with a fork. And I promise you there's going to be no leftovers. So if you eat a lot of fish and you do it the way a lot of people do, and mostly, you know, you have one or two ways that you like it, try this. I think you're going to love it. It's snapper, redfish on the half shell. It is incredibly easy. I'll put this entire recipe in the show notes, and good luck. If you do it, send me a picture. Tag us on Instagram. You can hashtag saltwater experience. You can send me an email at podcast@saltwaterexperience.com. If you've got recipes you'd like to share, maybe it turns into a How To Tuesday. Send me those recipes, especially if they're fish, deer, turkey, wild game. I love to cook wild game, and it is the best for you. So send me those recipes. Send me comments. Give us a rating and review on iTunes. And until next week, I hope you can get a snapper or a redfish and cook it on the half shell. I'll see you.